lovely to have you all here. Welcome, everyone. For those who don't know, I'm Kendra Bosworth from ACSL, and I'm facilitating this session. We are really excited to have two different people here from ADACAS today. So what I'm going to do is start with our normal introductions and welcome, and then welcome them as well before they start their presentation. So if we start with a prayer, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Gracious God, provide us with a listening heart so we may see and hear the voice of children and adults at risk. May our organisations, authorities and families listen to, respect and do what is required to keep children and adults at risk safe. We ask you to help each of us to exercise our duties with compassion, integrity and clarity as we work together to enact real change and uphold the safety of all who come in contact with our church and communities. Amen. Thank you. I recognise that I'm facilitating this session from Gundungurra country and the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you're all joining from today. We honour the First Nations peoples' culture and connection to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. ACSL also acknowledges the lifelong trauma of abuse victims and survivors and their families, the failure of the Catholic Church to protect, believe and respond justly to children and adults at risk, and the consequent breaches of community trust. Please be aware that this session will obtusely discuss abuse and therefore may contain content that you find confronting. If you start to feel distressed, please use your own judgment and ensure you are safe. You can find support resources on the ACSL website. So getting started, today I am very pleased to introduce our presenters, Thomas and Pieta from ADACAS. ADACAS is the ACT Disability, Aged and Carer Advocacy Service, an independent not-for-profit organisation committed to protecting and promoting the rights of people with disability, people with mental ill health, older people and carers. Pieta and Thomas are presenting about the new Aged Care Act. And so while they'll be talking and they've got slides that they will present, we'd love to hear from you after they've finished presenting. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chat. And once we are finished or they're finished presenting, I will hand over and start fielding as many of those questions as we can. And hopefully Pieta and Thomas can answer them. And if they can't, we'll take some of them on notice to answer in the future. But with all of that being said, I'd really like to welcome Pieta and Thomas. It's so wonderful to have them here. I am going to set them up so that we can actually see them. There we go. It's lovely to have you. Go ahead with your presentation.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Just get it all set up.
Always takes a couple of minutes to set up.
So it should work.
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And welcome, everybody. And thank you for coming online to have a listen. And yes, like Kendra said, if there's any questions, please, we're happy to answer any questions. All right. So today we're just going to talk about who ADACAS is and the New Age Care Act and the rights and voice of the older people. And that's what ADACAS is all about. We advocate for the older people and make sure that their voices are heard and their rights are looked at. Okay. All right. Who is ADACAS and what do we do? Oh, next slide, sorry. Just get the slides working. Is it working? Yep. All right, so ADACAS is an independent human rights organisation. At ADACAS, we believe everyone deserves the chance to be heard, valued and supported. For over 30 years, we've been standing beside people living with disability, those experiencing mental health, older people and their carers, providing free and confidential advocacy services. It's important to know about our services at ADACAS are free. We don't charge the client. we can go out and visit the client as often as they need, and each visit, it's a free service. We're independent from government and aged care service providers. We're confidential. We don't share any information unless we have been given explicit consent from the person. So the client needs to give us any consent for us to pass on any of their information. So very confidential. At ADACAS, we deliver older persons advocacy and care finder services across the ACT. We have also got a mental health and disability advocacy service across the ACT and New South Wales regions. Employer confidence program, and also supporting applicants to access the National Redress Scheme. Okay, the Older Persons Advocacy Network is OPAN. So ADACAS is a proud member of Older Persons Advocacy Network. As an OPAN member, ADACAS provides free advocacy support, information and education for people seeking or receiving government-funded aged care services. For people in there from 65 years over, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders are 50 years and over. Families or representatives of the above with the consent of the older person. So we can speak to the family, but we always like to get the consent as much as possible from the older person. The older people, and we look after the older people at risk of or experiencing abuse. So OPAN is government funded under the Aged Care Act to deliver the National Aged Care Advocacy Program. The new Aged Care Act, which commenced on the 1st of November 2025, obliges aged care providers to grant advocates access to their services. We will talk more about the new Aged Care Act as we go. We're just telling you a bit more about ADACAS to start with. Okay, so the aged care advocacy. So aged care advocacy is a process of supporting a person to make informed decisions about their aged care services. We help people understand and exercise their aged care rights. We listen to them and we have their voice heard and the views and wishes considered. How we can help is advocates will support older people to access the services they are entitled to through My Aged Care. So My Aged Care is a very hard to understand portal, and a lot of people, obviously the older clientele, aren't very good on computers. Some are, some aren't, and we can come along and just help them and explain it a little bit more to them. That's a little bit more user-friendly. We're there to listen and believe the experience and concerns of the older person. We all have our own beliefs, and when we're working with our client, we believe what they believe because we work partisan to the client. We stand beside the client. Whether we believe in their beliefs doesn't matter. When we're working with that client, we believe what they are experiencing and will help them through it as much as possible. We discuss options and strategies to resolve the issue so we can get the best outcomes for them and all our clients. We establish agreed actions with the older person, and we work with the older person to achieve the outcome that they want, or we'll make sure that there is an outcome that everybody is happy with. Okay, so what we can do as well as advocates, we can help write letters and organise meetings and provide support at meetings. So we can write letters if the client's got a complaint and they need to put through, and it needs to go further than just to ADACAS, we can sit down and help them write that letter to the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission. And we can organise the meetings with providers, or we can go along to meetings with the lawyers if they would like us to sit there. Again, we cannot speak on their behalf, but we can be there beside them and help them advocate for themselves, do self-advocacy and get them to speak up and make sure they are being heard. We support the client to speak up and address aged care related concerns, and we provide information about and discuss agreements, fees and statements. So we aid with changing aged care service providers. So when the client isn't happy with who they're with and they're a bit confused on the process of changing to a different provider, we will help them find that provider that will suit their needs and have the services that they also need. We do have a couple of specialist positions in our team, and that's the COLD advocate, which is the culturally and linguistically diverse advocate, who supports the clients from the culturally and linguistically diverse communities with individual advocacy. And we also have the financial officer, who supports the clients to understand aged care costs, the financial statements and the pay arrangements, because a lot of the times they can be very confusing. And she's our FAO, the financial advocacy, is very good. She's very up on everything and explains things very clearly. Okay, so the Aged Care Act, I'm going to hand it over to Thomas now. It's his turn.
So, as we all know, there was the Royal Commission into Aged Care, which happened between the years of 2018 and 2021. And it made 148 recommendations to reform the aged care system with the aim to improve safety, quality, and dignity for all the people. One of those recommendations was the implementation of the new Aged Care Act. The new Aged Care Act 2024 put the rights of older people at the center of aged care. What it also aimed to achieve was to strengthen the protections that were already in place to ensure older people are treated with dignity, respect, and fairness. It also gives older people the right to safe, quality care and provides stronger safeguards when things go wrong. The Aged Care Act includes a statement of rights that gives the older people rights to independence, autonomy, and freedom of choice. Oftentimes, we find as you go older and you're now receiving a service, you feel as if other people are making decisions for you, or your choices and your will and your preference don't often seem to be considered. So as part of the Aged Care Act, we have the Statement of Rights, which gives older people that independence, autonomy, and freedom of choice. It also serves to ensure that the service that they receive is fair and equitable, and they have access. Everyone has a fair and equitable access to the services that are being provided, that no one is left out and no one is discriminated against. Under the Aged Care Act, it also gives older people the rights to quality, safe funded aged care services. So the services that you're receiving should be of a high standard and quality. It should also enforce respect for your privacy and information for older people. Older people's information should be kept private, and that this information should be respected. So if the provider has information on you, they cannot release any information to third parties without your consent, and they have to keep that information safe. As part of the Aged Care Act, they have to meet your communication needs so that your communication meets your needs and your understanding. Any aids or any processes that need to be in place so that the information or any services you're receiving are clearly communicated should be put in place. You should also have the ability to raise issues without reprisal or punishment. This is often an issue with older people where they face this dilemma of, should I raise my concern? What will happen to me when I tell them how I feel? Will I be treated differently? Will I be punished for raising an issue that I am facing? So, as part of the statement of rights, we inform older people that you have a right to raise your concerns without fear of punishment or reprisal. We also inform them that they have access to support from an advocate. Oftentimes, they have no one that they can talk to or no one that they can raise their issues with, or they've tried to talk to the provider or the service provider and haven't seemed to be able to get the issue resolved. We let them know that we are here and they have a right to access advocates and get support. Aged care providers must align their actions to these rights. The strengthened aged care standards. These align with the Aged Care Act 2024 and the Statement of Rights. They are more detailed to reduce ambiguity and to ensure the consistent high-quality care for the aged care service recipient. They use plain language to ensure they're easily understood by providers, workers, and the older people. Key changes that have been brought about by this strengthened aged care standards. In the dementia space, there is better support for people that are living with dementia. It has brought about diversity, improved care for people from diverse backgrounds, improved, stronger governance with increased focus on provider accountability. It has also brought about focus on providing nutritious food that tastes good and provides choice. It also has brought about a dedicated standard that emphasizes high quality and person-centered clinical care. What this means. It means, the Aged Care Act 2024 puts the rights and the voice of older people at the center of their care. Key rights under the Act: the right to make decisions and choices about life and care and have those decisions respected. The right to safe, respectful, and high-quality care and services that meet the needs of the person and supports their identity. The right to voice concerns, make complaints without fear of punishment. The right to live independently, take personal risk, and stay connected with friends, family, community, culture, and country. And also the right to communicate in a preferred language and receive support to understand their rights. It means greater choice for older people. Decision-making support, often found with challenging changes that are constantly happening, jargon, contracts, fees, agreements, and trying to sift through all that. Now they have support in allowing them to be able to make informed decisions. Safety and protection, a stronger complaints process. So now they have a more robust system in which the older person can sort of have their complaints lodged and addressed. Now we have, with the new Aged Care Act, a higher provider accountability. They are now more accountable for their actions and the service that they provide. It also allows for services that are tailored to the person's needs, preferences, and culture. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions that you may have? Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate. Sorry, perfect in terms of stopping sharing the screen.
Yeah.
That was really fascinating. Thank you, Thomas. One of the first questions that we had while you were talking was about whether ADACAS was just ACT in New South Wales. And my response to that was that I know you're ACT. I don't know whether you're New South Wales, but that OPAN has similar advocacy groups in every state and territory. Do you know the details about that? Are there? I'll hand it to you.
Yeah. Hi. Yes, that's correct. So under OPAN, there are many network members across the country, but particularly ADACAS is specifically for the ACT. So if there are any older people that require advocacy support and they're from New South Wales, for instance, every state has its own advocacy network member. So if there is someone, a family member here in the ACT that might have a parent or someone they know that's interstate that needs advocacy support, would oftentimes refer them to the appropriate network member.
Thank you for that. And I have to say that when I was organising this presentation, I reached out through OPAN themselves. And because ACSL is based in Canberra, that's where they referred us to you. So thank you very much for that. Can I open for any other questions as we're going through? You're very welcome to unmute yourselves and just ask, Thomas or Peter. Or you're welcome to put them in the chat box and ask, or if you have something confidential, send it to me privately and I will ask for you. I've got so many different options. But while we're waiting, you must have many clients that come through for your services. Are you an enormous team or are you a small team?
There's 11 of us now.
11,
yeah, so we've got 11. So we're getting bigger, and it is getting busier with the new, since the 1st of November, with the new Aged Care Act that's come out and the new support at home, changing from, what is it? Home care provider. I'm forgetting the old one now. So the home care provider and now packages into the support at home. There's been a lot of confusion and stuff. So, yes, we've been very busy over the last couple of months. It seems to have just dulled down a little bit at the moment, which is nice because we don't want our older people to be having too many issues, but they're still out there and we're getting bigger.
Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, not huge, but we've got big.
I'm just imagining how many people are out there looking for support, and therefore what the time frames and all the rest of it are, because you want to be able to respond as quickly as you can, because when someone has a problem.
Yeah, and we don't have a wait list at the moment, which is good. We did go through a bit of a stage where there was a little bit of a wait list, and we always, once the client has contacted ADACAS, we try and get back to them within that week. So once they've spoken to the intake person, it'll come through to our team, and then we will usually get in contact with them within 3 days.
Okay. And so this is a sort of left field question, but if someone's parents were in the ACT and they were overseas or interstate, would there be a process of asking the parents to say, yes, my child overseas can request help and have permission to request help, and then you can help them in that way? Or
yes, as long as the older person or the older people that are seeking advocacy support are based in the ACT, even if their family member is overseas or interstate, they can still request for support for their client. As long as they're within the ACT, the state, we can support them, regardless of where the referral has come from.
Fantastic. I know I have plenty of friends who are overseas with their parents back in Australia, not necessarily ACT, and they're worrying about how does life continue as the parents get older and need extra support. So that's very good to know. We have also had a question about who funds ADACAS, as you don't charge for your services.
So we're funded through the Department of Health and Aging, who fund OPAN, and then OPAN funds us. So yeah, we don't charge. We're not for profit, and we don't charge the client. It's a free service for older people in ACT.
Yep, that's fantastic. What I'm thinking is at the end of the session, I will be sending out an email to everyone who attended. What I'll do is I'll send them the link to OPAN's website so they can actually see what the different state and territory agencies are. But I'll also send them a link to your website because as we know, there are a number in this group that are not necessarily from the ACT. I don't think we've got anyone from overseas today, but generally we do. We have people from anywhere, so it's really, and it's wonderful that you can operate as a not-for-profit service. There must be challenges related to that, as any not-for-profit has, but it's a great service. Did anyone else? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's one of the main questions we get asked from our older clients is the money, because it just seems you're always putting your hand out for any service that you get these days. It feels like you're always paying. So they are really relieved when we say, no, we're just here to chat. You don't have to give us any money. Just tell us your issues and we'll help and do the best we can.
Fantastic. And I'm going to ask from a safeguarding perspective, because ACSL is safeguarding. Any of your advocates that are out there liaising with the older people, do you run sort of checks on them? I know in the ACT, is it the Working with Vulnerable People check?
Yeah, we need to have our police check as well before we start. We need the police check and the Working with Vulnerable People. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you provide your staff with training regarding around safety in someone else's home and policies and procedures and reporting and confidentiality.
Yes, absolutely. And we do a lot of training within ADACAS for the whole of ADACAS for lots of different things, and it is a lot more about safety as well. And we've all got our own phones, like work phones as well, so we don't need to, we can get in contact at all times with someone if needed. And we also, everyone always knows where we are, so we're all good and all above board for us. And the training never ends, really. We've always got something. There's always something to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's exactly what I say all the time as well. So that's fabulous. But I guess what I was asking in terms of that safeguarding perspective is that I know that we have a couple of people in the audience who come from agencies that go out and do home visits from a community services perspective. And so it's seeing the parallels between what you do and what they do, and what sort of safeguarding restrictions or not restrictions, but safeguarding requirements you put in place to ensure the safety of your clients and your staff. So that's where that question was coming from. I wasn't trying to challenge you in any way.
No, always up for the challenge, though. It's a good reminder for me.
No, well, and I love the idea that you all know where each other are, that you're keeping that safety, because I can see that in a number of our different Catholic care agencies outside in sort of not ACT but more country based that have further distances to go. There's all that knowledge of trying to keep a track of where the staff are in case something happens in the drive there or on the way. So I really appreciate that. Well, if there are any other questions, please feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we very happily end early and say, have a wonderful lunch. If you don't mind. But I'll wait 2 seconds. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to say thank you so much, both of you, for your time. I really appreciate it. For anyone in the audience, the original presenter was unable to make it. So these two pulled in at the last minute for me, which was fantastic. Thank you. I will, as I said, send out an email afterwards with links to OPAN and ADACAS. and your certificates and feedback, because we do need feedback. And then earlier next week or later this week, depending on timing, I will try and send through a link to the recording as well, so that you can come back and review what Thomas and Pieter have said. But Thomas and Pieter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's always really, really wonderful to actually hear about new acts and the organisation and your agency, because you're doing valuable work. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's okay. There are a couple of comments coming in saying thank you, but no questions.
I was just wondering, Anita, were you trying to ask?
Yes, I was going to ask. I was going to ask a question. That seems to be something seems to be something with the sound.
Anita, it says that you've got two screens open, and so they're bouncing off each other. Can I just shut one of them?
Yes.
And see whether that helps. Hopefully I didn't shut the one that was her. Anita, are you still there? I've got you there, but no, I don't know whether now she's been kicked out completely. I'm hoping. I will find out what Anita wanted to ask, and I'll get back to you and forward that through to you. Because she's not coming back in. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just writing down her name so that I remember who I'm meant to be contacting you, so that she can get in contact and actually ask a question. Was I missing anyone else that wanted to ask a question? Take that as a no. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And everyone in the room, thank you very much for your attendance today. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.